What if the stars above are not just distant lights, but the eyes of our creators, watching us from across the cosmos? Picture this. Tens of thousands of years ago, under the endless African sky, a blinding light descends. Strange beings not of this earth step onto the savannah, their technology shimmering like fire. They touch the minds of our ancestors, weaving their essence into our DNA, forging Homo sapiens in a crucible of starlight. Is this the truth of our origins? A secret buried in the sands of time? Or is it a myth? A whisper from a past we can never fully grasp? The idea that beings from another world could have crafted our species is not just a fleeting thought. It is a fire that burns through ancient texts and modern minds alike. The ancient astronaut theory dares to ask, what if our leap from primitive hominids to builders of civilizations was no accident? What if the spark of our intelligence, our art, our language, came not from the slow grind of evolution, but from a deliberate act by visitors from the stars? This is not a gentle question, it is a thunderbolt, shattering the foundations of what we believe about ourselves. Could our DNA hold a cosmic signature, a code written not by nature, but by intelligences far beyond our own? Consider the ancient Sumerians, who carved their stories into clay over 5,000 years ago in the cradle of Mesopotamia. Their tablets speak of the Anunnaki, beings who descended from the heavens, wielding knowledge that seemed divine. These gods taught humanity the secrets of writing, farming, and the stars themselves. But what if they were not gods? What if they were extraterrestrial explorers, mining Earth's gold and shaping a new species to serve their needs? Zecharia Sitchin, a bold voice in this debate, argued that the Anunnaki engineered Homo sapiens as laborers, blending their alien DNA with that of early hominids. Is it possible that the Sumerian myths are not mere stories, but echoes of a truth too vast for us to comprehend? Imagine our very existence, a project of cosmic engineers, our purpose tied to the stars. The whispers of extraterrestrial origins are not confined to Sumer. Across the globe, cultures tell of sky gods and celestial creators. In Egypt, Osiris, the god of rebirth, was said to hail from the stars, guiding humanity's first steps. In the Andes, the Inca revered Viracocha, a being who emerged from the heavens to mold mankind. And in Africa, the Dogon people of Mali speak of the Nomo, amphibious entities from the Sirius star system, who gifted them knowledge of a star invisible to the naked eye, Sirius B, a white dwarf only confirmed by modern telescopes in the 19th century. How could the Dogon know this? Did they inherit wisdom from beings who crossed the void of space? The question hangs in the air, unanswered, pulling us deeper into the mystery. Now, let us turn to a puzzle within ourselves, our DNA. Scientists tell us that over 90% of our genome is non-coding, often called junk DNA. To them, it may be evolutionary baggage or a regulator of our genes. But what if it is something more? What if these silent sequences are a message, a blueprint left by our creators? Some theorists propose that this DNA holds the key to our extraterrestrial origins, a code waiting to be unlocked. Picture it. Within every cell of your body, a secret lies dormant, a fragment of a story written in the stars. Could it be that we carry the mark of an alien hand, a legacy we have yet to understand? The monuments of the ancient world only deepen this enigma. The great pyramids of Giza, their stones aligned with the stars of Orion's belt, stand as if built for the cosmos itself. How did a people with only copper tools move blocks weighing tons, placing them with precision that rivals modern engineering? Stonehenge, with its massive stones hauled across miles, whispers of a purpose we cannot name. Puma Punku in Bolivia, its stones cut so precisely they seem machined, defies explanation. Could these be the work of human hands alone? Or did extraterrestrial architects lend their knowledge? The question burns. Were these structures signals to the stars, built by a humanity guided by otherworldly hands? But let us step back, for a moment, into the realm of science. The Out of Africa hypothesis tells a different story, one grounded in fossils and genes. It says that Homo sapiens emerged in Africa some 300,000 years ago, spreading across the globe in waves, their journey etched in bones found in Ethiopia's Omo and Herto sites. DNA studies trace our lineage to a single population, a mitochondrial Eve who lived in Africa long ago. This is a tale of endurance, of a species carving its path through deserts and ice. Yet even science leaves gaps. Why did our minds bloom so quickly, creating art, language, and culture in a blink of evolutionary time? Could there have been a catalyst, a touch from beyond that sparked our ascent? The ancient astronaut theory, for all its allure, is not without its skeptics. Science demands evidence, bones, tools, or artifacts that point to alien visitors. None have been found, at least not in the way we might expect. The pyramids, the myths, the DNA all can be explained by human ingenuity and the slow march of evolution. Yet, the absence of proof is not proof of absence. The gaps in our knowledge, the unanswered questions, leave room for wonder. What if the truth lies in the middle? A story where humanity's rise was both earthly and cosmic, a dance between the dust of Africa and the light of distant stars. As we linger in this mystery, picture yourself standing on an ancient plain, the night sky ablaze with stars. You are one of our ancestors, gazing upward, feeling a pull toward the unknown. Were those lights merely stars, or were they ships, carrying beings who shaped your destiny? Did they leave us a legacy, hidden in our genes, our stories, our stones? The question is not whether we will ever know, but whether we dare to ask. What if our true origins lie not in the soil beneath our feet, but in the vastness above, waiting to be rediscovered? So, dear listeners, as you drift with these thoughts, tell me, where are you listening from tonight? What time is it there? As the stars guide you into this cosmic tale. This is only the beginning, dear listeners. But before we continue, allow me to introduce myself. I am Mr. H, your guide through the shadows of history, here to weave tales that lull you into a gentle slumber. This is Mystery History for Sleep, where the past whispers its secrets to those who listen. Now, let your mind drift, let the stars guide you, and let us continue into the night, where the truth of our origins waits to be unveiled. Beneath the starlit canopy of ancient skies, where shadows dance and legends breathe, lies a question that stirs the soul. Were there once giants among us, towering figures whose bones whisper of a forgotten chapter in humanity's tale? Not mere men, but beings born of a union between the earthly and the unknown, hybrids of flesh and mystery that strode across the world before history was written. From the sacred texts of old to the strange skulls unearthed in distant lands, stories of these colossal beings echo through time, daring us to wonder, are we the descendants of ordinary men, or do we carry the blood of something greater, something stranger? Let us begin with a tale as old as Scripture itself, found in the pages of the book of Genesis. There, in the 6th chapter, we read of the Nephilim, beings of immense stature born from an unnatural union between the sons of God and the daughters of men. These were no ordinary offspring. They were giants, heroes of old, men of renown whose deeds shook the earth. The Hebrew texts describe them as mighty, yet their origins remain cloaked in ambiguity. Were they divine beings, fallen angels, or something else entirely? The story does not end with the Bible. Across cultures, from the frostbitten sagas of Norse mythology to the oral traditions of Native American tribes, giants loom large. The Greeks spoke of the Cyclopes, one-eyed titans who forged Zeus's thunderbolts. The Celts told of Fomorians, monstrous beings who battled gods. Could these tales be mere fancy, or do they preserve a memory of a time when giants walked among us? Now, let us turn to the ground beneath our feet, where the earth itself holds secrets. In the deserts of Peru, archaeologists uncovered the Paracas skulls, elongated and massive, their shapes so alien they seem to belong to another species. Discovered in the 1922nd, these skulls, some dating back over 2,000 years, have sparked endless debate. Some claim they are evidence of cranial deformation, a cultural practice where skulls were bound to create elongated shapes. But others, peering into their strangeness, see something more: a possible hybrid species, born of unions between humans and unknown beings. The Paracas skulls are larger than typical human crania, with unusual suture lines and, in some cases, a missing sagittal suture, a feature found in all modern humans. Could these be the remnants of the Nephilim, or perhaps a race of hybrids with origins lost to time? The question lingers, unanswered, like a shadow cast by a forgotten sun. Travel now to North America, where the 19th century brought tales of giant bones unearthed in mounds across the Midwest. Newspapers of the time reported skeletons 7 to 8 feet tall, buried with tools and ornaments that hinted at a sophisticated culture. One such find, near Lovelock Cave in Nevada, spoke of red-haired giants, their remains accompanied by massive artifacts. The Paiute people of the region tell stories of the Sepehr, a race of cannibalistic giants who were defeated and driven into caves. Are these merely legends, or do they point to a truth buried beneath the soil? Skeptics argue that many of these finds were misidentified animal bones or exaggerated tales. Yet the sheer volume of reports from Ohio to California raises a haunting possibility. What if a race of giants once roamed the earth, their legacy erased by time or intent? Let us delve deeper into the realm of science, where the study of ancient DNA offers tantalizing clues. We know that Homo sapiens interbred with Neanderthals and Denisovans, distant cousins whose genes still linger in our blood. Up to 6% of modern human DNA in some populations comes from these ancient encounters, giving us traits like immunity or resilience to cold. But what if there were other species, other hybrids, lost to history? The discovery of Homo floresiensis, the so-called hobbits of Indonesia, proves that our evolutionary tree is far more tangled than once thought. These diminutive beings, barely 3 feet tall, lived as recently as 50,000 years ago. If such a species could remain hidden until the 21st century, what other branches of humanity might await discovery? Could there have been a race of giants, perhaps a hybrid of Homo sapiens and an unknown ancestor whose bones have yet to be found? The enigma grows stranger when we consider the global tapestry of giant lore. In the Andes, the Inca spoke of giants who built the massive stone walls of Sacsayhuaman, stones so perfectly fitted that not even a blade of grass can pass between them. In Ireland, the Giant's Causeway, with its hexagonal basalt columns, is tied to the legend of Finn McCool, a giant who built a path across the sea. Even in Africa, the cradle of humanity, the Zulu tell of the Nzuzu, enormous beings who walked the earth before men. These stories, spanning continents and millennia, share a common thread: beings of extraordinary size and strength, often linked to divine or otherworldly origins. Is it mere coincidence, or do these tales preserve a kernel of truth, a memory of a time when hybrids walked among us? Let us explore another piece of the puzzle: the strange case of the Paluxy River footprints in Texas. In the early 20th century, alongside dinosaur tracks in the riverbed, researchers claimed to find human-like footprints, massive in size, as if a giant strode beside creatures of the Mesozoic era. Mainstream science dismisses these as misidentified or carved hoaxes, yet they fuel speculation. Could a race of giants have lived millions of years ago, defying our understanding of history? Or are these tracks a glimpse of a hybrid species, one that coexisted with creatures long thought extinct? The truth remains elusive, but the footprints beckon us to question the timeline of our past. Now, imagine a world where these giants were not mere myth, but the product of a grand experiment. Some theorists propose that humanity's rapid cognitive leap, our sudden mastery of art, language, and technology, came from hybridization with advanced beings. The Nephilim, they argue, could have been the offspring of extraterrestrial or divine entities, their genes granting them size and intellect far beyond our own. The Book of Enoch, an ancient text excluded from the Bible, describes these beings as towering figures who taught humanity forbidden knowledge, metallurgy, astronomy, even magic. Could such hybrids explain the sudden cultural explosions of the past, from the cave paintings of Lascaux to the star-aligned pyramids of Giza? The idea is a spark in the darkness, illuminating possibilities we dare not dismiss. Yet, science urges caution. The Paracas skulls, while striking, are likely the result of cultural practices, not alien ancestry. The giant skeletons of old newspaper reports often vanish under scrutiny, their bones lost or misidentified. The Paluxy footprints, though intriguing, bear the marks of erosion or human tampering, and while Homo sapiens did interbreed with other species, there is no genetic evidence of a giant race or extraterrestrial DNA. The stories of giants may reflect cultural exaggerations, the glorification of ancient heroes, or even misinterpretations of large animal bones. But the absence of definitive proof does not quench the fire of curiosity. Why do so many cultures, separated by oceans and ages, speak of giants? Why do their stories resonate, pulling at the threads of our collective memory? As we wander through this labyrinth, consider the possibility of a hidden truth. Perhaps the giants were not physical beings, but symbols of a greater mystery, a lost chapter of humanity's story. Or perhaps they were real, their bones buried deep, waiting for a shovel to unearth them. Picture yourself standing on a windswept plain, the ground trembling beneath the steps of a towering figure. Its shadow falls over you, its eyes glinting with a wisdom older than the stars. Is it a giant, a hybrid, a memory of a world we have forgotten? The question is a doorway, leading to a place where myth and reality blur. If these tales of giants spark your curiosity, dear listeners, consider subscribing to Mystery History for Sleep and ringing that bell to join us for more journeys into the unknown. Let us linger here, in the twilight of possibility. The Nephilim, the Paracas skulls, the footprints in the Paluxy River, they are not answers, but invitations. They ask us to look beyond the pages of history, to imagine a time when beings of immense power walked the earth, their blood mingling with our own. Were they our ancestors, our creators, or our rivals? Did they build the foundations of our world, only to vanish into the mists of time? Deep in the heart of Africa, where the earth hums with secrets older than memory, lie traces of a mystery that defies the pages of history. Scattered across the savannas and deserts, from the stone circles of the south to the towering ruins of the east, are relics that whisper of a civilization lost to time, a society so advanced it seems to belong to another age. Were these the works of a forgotten people, wielding knowledge that rivaled the stars? Or are they simply the remnants of cultures misunderstood, their brilliance dimmed by the passage of millennia? As we wander through the sands and stones of Africa, we chase the shadow of a truth that could rewrite the story of humanity's dawn. Consider the enigmatic stone circles of South Africa, known to some as Adam's Calendar. Nestled in the Mpumalanga region, these rings of standing stones stretch across the landscape, their origins shrouded in debate. Some claim they date back over 75,000 years, making them older than the pyramids, older even than the first cities of Mesopotamia. The stones, arranged with a precision that suggests astronomical alignment, hint at a purpose beyond mere decoration. Could they have been a celestial observatory, tracking the movements of stars long before telescopes were dreamed? The local traditions speak of a time when the sky gods walked among men, teaching them the secrets of the heavens. Is Adam's Calendar a monument to that ancient knowledge, a testament to a civilization that knew more than we dare imagine? The mystery deepens when we turn to Great Zimbabwe, a sprawling complex of stone walls and towers in southern Africa. Built between the 11th and 15th centuries, its massive granite blocks, fitted without mortar, stand as a marvel of engineering. This was no simple village. It was a hub of trade and culture, connecting the interior of Africa to the Indian Ocean. Archaeologists marvel at its sophistication, yet some voices, like those of alternative historians, push further. They argue that Great Zimbabwe could be a fragment of a much older, more advanced society, one that thrived long before the accepted timelines of history. Could its builders have inherited techniques from a civilization lost to cataclysm, their knowledge buried beneath the weight of time? Let us journey to West Africa, where the Dogon people of Mali guard a secret that has baffled scholars for generations. Their oral traditions speak of the Nomo, beings from the Sirius star system who descended to Earth in a vessel of light. The Dogon claim these visitors taught them intricate details about the cosmos, including the existence of Sirius B, a white dwarf star invisible without modern telescopes. This knowledge, recorded long before European contact, raises a haunting question. How could a people without written language or advanced instruments know such things? Some, like Robert Sepehr, suggest the Dogon were heirs to a lost civilization, one with ties to extraterrestrial wisdom or a forgotten golden age. Could their stories be a thread leading back to a time when Africa was home to a society that mapped the stars? The idea of a lost advanced civilization in Africa is not mere fantasy, it is a spark ignited by the gaps in our understanding. Mainstream archaeology tells us that humanity's early steps were simple, marked by stone tools and nomadic tribes. Yet, the out of Africa hypothesis, which places our origins in this continent, leaves room for wonder. If Homo sapiens emerged here 300,000 years ago, what cultures might have risen and fallen before the first cities were built? The Younger Dryas event, a sudden climatic shift around 12,000 years ago, brought floods and chaos to the world. Could it have erased a civilization so advanced that its traces are now mistaken for natural formations or misdated ruins? Let us explore the theory of a lost continent, a land some call Mu or Lemuria, said to have once existed in the Indian Ocean. Proponents like Graham Hancock argue that such a place could have been the cradle of an advanced society, its people spreading knowledge to Africa and beyond, before their homeland sank beneath the waves. The Tamil legends of South India speak of Kumari Kandam, a submerged land of great cities and wisdom. Could this be the source of Africa's mysterious structures, its people fleeing to the mainland as their world was swallowed by the sea? The lack of physical evidence lost to the ocean's depths only fuels the mystery, inviting us to imagine a civilization whose legacy survives in stone and story. Now, consider the stone quarries of Aswan in Egypt, where massive granite obelisks, some weighing hundreds of tons, were carved with a precision that puzzles modern engineers. The unfinished obelisk, still lying in its quarry, suggests techniques beyond the simple tools of the time. Could these be the work of a lost African civilization, one that shared its knowledge across the continent? The alignment of ancient African sites, from the Nabta Playa stone circle in Egypt to the rock art of the Sahara, hints at a shared understanding of astronomy and mathematics. These are not the works of scattered tribes, but of a people with a vision that reached for the stars. The oral traditions of Africa offer another layer to this enigma. The Zulu people speak of the Abantu, ancient beings who taught humanity the arts of healing and building. In Ethiopia, the Oromo tell of a golden age when their ancestors lived in harmony with the cosmos. These stories, passed down through generations, are not mere myths. They are threads in a tapestry that suggests a time of great knowledge, lost to the ravages of history. Could these tales preserve the memory of a civilization that thrived before the great migrations of Homo sapiens, its secrets hidden in the rhythms of song and story? Let us pause to consider the skeptics, for their voices ground us. Mainstream archaeology attributes Adam's calendar to natural formations or later cultures, its age contested by radiocarbon dating. Great Zimbabwe, while remarkable, is explained as the work of the Shona people, using techniques honed over centuries. The Dogon's knowledge of Sirius B may have come from early European visitors, their stories blending with modern astronomy. The idea of a lost continent like Lemuria lacks geological evidence, dismissed as a romantic dream. Yet, these explanations do not silence the questions. Why do so many African sites align with the stars? Why do legends across the continent speak of a time when knowledge flowed like rivers, only to vanish? The mystery grows when we consider the possibility of cataclysm. The Younger Dryas, with its sudden cooling and rising seas, could have submerged coastal civilizations, leaving only fragments like the underwater ruins off the coast of Zanzibar. These structures, found in shallow waters, hint at settlements swallowed by the ocean. Could they be remnants of a lost African civilization, one that rivaled the myths of Atlantis? The absence of definitive proof only deepens the allure, urging us to look beyond the known and imagine what might have been. Picture yourself standing among the stones of Adam's calendar, the night sky blazing above. The air hums with an ancient energy, as if the stones themselves remember a time when their builders charted the heavens. Were they priests, astronomers, or survivors of a lost world? Imagine Great Zimbabwe in its prime, its walls gleaming under the sun, a city alive with trade and wisdom. Could it have been a beacon of a greater civilization, its roots stretching back to a time we cannot name? The Dogon's tales of the Nomo weave through your mind, their words painting a picture of beings from the stars. Is this the echo of a truth we have forgotten, or a story born of human longing? The lost civilization of Africa is not just a question of stones and bones, it is a challenge to our understanding of time itself. If such a society existed, what knowledge did they possess? Did they master technologies we have yet to rediscover, or commune with forces beyond our grasp? The rock art of the Sahara, with its vivid depictions of cattle and stars, suggests a people who saw the world with eyes we can scarcely imagine. The stone circles of Nabta Playa, older than Stonehenge, point to a culture that measured the cosmos with precision. These are not the works of a primitive people, but of a society that may have held secrets we are only beginning to uncover. Let us consider one final possibility. What if this lost civilization was not alone? Could it have been part of a global network, sharing knowledge with distant lands before the seas rose and the world changed? The similarities between African stone circles and those of Europe, the shared motifs in rock art across continents, hint at connections we cannot fully trace. Perhaps the builders of Great Zimbabwe, the keepers of Adam's calendar, were part of a greater whole, a civilization whose light was extinguished before it could be recorded. Across the vast plains of Africa, where the sun burns fierce and the earth cradles the oldest secrets of humanity, a story begins, one rooted not in myth or shadow, but in the unyielding truth of bone, stone, and blood. This is the tale of the Out of Africa hypothesis, the scientific cornerstone that traces our origins to a single cradle, a place where Homo sapiens first drew breath. Yet, even in the clarity of science, there are flickers of mystery, questions that tug at the edges of certainty. How did our ancestors, born in the heart of a continent, conquer the world? What drove them to cross deserts, seas, and mountains, leaving their mark on every corner of the globe? As we unravel this epic journey, prepare to be drawn into a narrative that is both fact and enigma, a chronicle of survival that whispers of the extraordinary. The Out of Africa hypothesis begins with a simple, profound truth. Africa is the birthplace of humanity. Deep in the sediment of Ethiopia, at sites like Omo Kibish and Herto, archaeologists have unearthed the oldest known fossils of Homo sapiens, dating back nearly 300,000 years. These bones, weathered by time, tell of a people who walked upright, their faces not so different from our own. The skull from Herto, found in 1997, is a near-perfect snapshot of our early kin. Its features a haunting echo of the humanity we know today. But these fossils are more than relics. They are milestones in a journey that began long before cities or empires, when our ancestors were but a spark in the vastness of the African savanna. What makes this hypothesis so compelling is not just the bones, but the invisible threads woven into our very being, our DNA. Scientists, peering into the code of life, have traced our genetic lineage back to Africa through mitochondrial DNA, the legacy passed down through mothers. This genetic trail points to a woman, often called mitochondrial Eve, who lived in Africa some 200,000 years ago. She was not the first human, nor the only one, but her descendants would become the ancestors of us all. The diversity of DNA in African populations today is greater than anywhere else, a testament to the deep roots of our species in this land. As you listen, imagine the weight of that truth. Every person alive today, from the mountains of Tibet to the shores of Patagonia, carries a piece of Africa within them. The journey out of Africa, however, is where the story grows truly epic. Around 70,000 years ago, small bands of Homo sapiens began to move beyond their homeland. Why they left remains a question that science can only partially answer. Perhaps it was climate, as shifting rains turned lush plains to dust. Perhaps it was curiosity, an innate drive to explore the unknown. Whatever the spark, these early travelers crossed into the Middle East, their footsteps marking the first chapter of a global odyssey. From there, they spread like wildfire east to Asia, south to Australia, north to Europe, and eventually to the Americas. Each step was a triumph over ice, desert, and sea, a testament to a resilience that defines our species. The evidence of this migration is etched in the earth. In Israel, at Skul and Qafzeh caves, fossils dated to 100,000 years ago show Homo sapiens living alongside Neanderthals, their bones a silent record of coexistence. In Australia, the Mungo Man, buried 40,000 years ago, marks one of the earliest human presences outside Africa. In Europe, the Cro-Magnon people left behind cave paintings, their art a vivid testament to a mind capable of dreaming beyond survival. These discoveries, scattered across continents, form a map of humanity's spread, a mosaic of courage and adaptation. But what drove these wanderers? Was it mere survival, or something deeper, a pull toward destiny, a whisper from the stars? The Out of Africa hypothesis is not just a story of movement, but of transformation. As our ancestors spread, they encountered other human species, Neanderthals in Europe, Denisovans in Asia, perhaps others yet unknown. These meetings were not always peaceful, but they were profound. Genetic studies reveal that Homo sapiens interbred with these cousins, weaving their DNA into our own. Up to 6% of the genome in some modern populations, like those in Europe and Oceania, comes from Neanderthals and Denisovans. This blending gave us gifts: immunity to diseases, adaptations to cold climates, perhaps even traits we cannot yet name. Imagine the moment a Homo sapiens woman, her eyes meeting those of a Neanderthal under a moonlit sky, their union forging a legacy that lives in us today. It is a story of connection, of humanity's ability to bridge divides, even across species. Yet, even in this scientific triumph, there are shadows of mystery. The Out of Africa hypothesis explains much, but not all. Why did Homo sapiens succeed where others failed? Neanderthals, with their robust bodies and large brains, thrived in Europe for hundreds of thousands of years, yet they vanished as our ancestors arrived. Was it competition, climate, or something else? The fossil record is incomplete, a puzzle with missing pieces. Sites like Jebel Irhoud in Morocco, where Homo sapiens fossils date back 315,000 years, push the timeline of our species further into the past, challenging earlier assumptions. Each discovery raises new questions, like ripples on a pond that never quite settle. The speed of humanity's cultural leap adds another layer of intrigue. Within a blink of evolutionary time, Homo sapiens went from crafting simple tools to painting caves, carving figurines, and building complex societies. The Upper Paleolithic period, beginning around 50,000 years ago, saw an explosion of creativity, art, music, and language that set us apart. Why so sudden? What sparked this transformation? Some scientists point to genetic mutations, others to social innovations. But the question lingers: could there have been a catalyst, a moment when humanity touched something greater? The Out of Africa hypothesis does not answer this. It merely frames the stage on which the drama unfolded. Let us wander into the African landscape of that ancient time. Picture the savannah stretching endlessly, dotted with acacia trees and grazed by herds of antelope. Here, our ancestors hunted, gathered, and dreamed. Their tools, found at sites like Blombos Cave in South Africa, show a sophistication that hints at complex thought: ochre etched with geometric patterns, beads crafted from shells. These are not the works of a primitive people, but of minds alive with imagination. Could these early humans have been part of a culture we have yet to fully understand? One whose knowledge was lost as they ventured beyond their homeland? The thought is a spark, igniting curiosity about what else lies buried in Africa's ancient soil. The Out of Africa hypothesis also challenges us to consider the unity of humanity. Every person alive today shares a common ancestor, a lineage that began in Africa's embrace. This truth binds us, transcending borders and time. Yet, it also raises questions about what we have lost. The oral traditions of African peoples, from the San to the Maasai, speak of a time when humanity was closer to the earth, to the spirits, to the stars. Are these stories mere metaphor, or do they preserve fragments of a truth we have forgotten? The hypothesis gives us a framework, but it does not silence the whispers of a deeper past. As we trace this journey, consider the obstacles our ancestors faced. Crossing the Red Sea, navigating the Himalayas, surviving the Ice Age, these were feats of endurance that defy imagination. Yet, they did more than survive. They thrived, leaving behind tools, art, and stories that echo through time. The Out of Africa hypothesis is a testament to their strength, but it also invites us to wonder what drove them to keep moving, to conquer the unknown. Was it necessity, or a spark of something greater, a call to explore, to create, to become more than they were? The science of this hypothesis is robust, built on decades of research. Radiocarbon dating, genetic sequencing, and fossil analysis converge to tell a coherent story. Yet, science is not a closed book. New discoveries, like the Denisovan DNA found in modern Tibetans, reveal how much we still have to learn. The Out of Africa hypothesis is a foundation, but it is not the whole truth. It leaves room for questions, for the possibility that there is more to our story than we can yet see. What other secrets lie buried in the earth, waiting to be uncovered? What tales do the bones of our ancestors still hold? As you lie in the quiet of the night, let this story settle around you. Imagine those first humans, standing under an African sky, their eyes lifted to the horizon. They were not so different from you, filled with dreams, fears, and an unyielding will to survive. Their journey is your journey. Their blood flows in your veins. The Out of Africa hypothesis is not just a scientific model. It is a saga of humanity's dawn, a tale that binds us to the earth and to each other. Let it carry you now, into the stillness of sleep, where the echoes of our ancestors' footsteps linger, guiding you through the vastness of time. In the dimly lit corridors of alternative anthropology, where established narratives clash with bold speculations, stands Robert Sepehr, a figure whose ideas ignite debates and stir the imagination. Described by some as an anthropologist, author, and filmmaker, Sepehr has carved a niche for himself by questioning the pillars of mainstream science, particularly the Out of Africa theory. His views, often shared through YouTube videos and books, challenge the notion that humanity's story begins solely in Africa, proposing instead a tapestry of ancient migrations, hidden civilizations, and genetic mysteries that stretch across continents and epochs. But who is this enigmatic thinker, and what exactly does he argue? As we delve into his perspectives, prepare to navigate a landscape where facts blend with conjecture, leaving you to ponder. Is Sepehr a visionary uncovering suppressed truths, or a provocateur weaving tales from the fringes? Robert Sepehr's journey into anthropology is as unconventional as his theories. Born to a German mother and an Iranian father, he claims a background in linguistics, archaeology, and paleobiology. Though his formal credentials have sparked controversy, critics point out that he lacks traditional academic affiliations, often labeling him a pseudo-anthropologist. Yet, his self-published works, like Species with Amnesia and 1666, Redemption Through Sin, have garnered a dedicated following. Sepehr positions himself as a diffusionist, arguing that advanced knowledge spread from antediluvian civilizations, those predating known history rather than evolving independently in isolated pockets. This framework sets the stage for his assault on the Out of Africa model, which he dismisses as outdated, politically motivated, and incompatible with emerging genetic evidence. What drives his critique? Is it a genuine quest for truth, or a reflection of deeper ideological currents? At the core of Sepehr's challenge is his rejection of the single origin model. He contends that the Out of Africa theory, which posits that Homo sapiens evolved in Africa around 300,000 years ago and migrated outward, oversimplifies human evolution. Instead, he advocates for a multi-regional hypothesis, suggesting that modern humans developed simultaneously in multiple regions through parallel evolution and gene flow. In his video Out of Africa Theory Debunked, Sepehr highlights genetic studies showing interbreeding between Homo sapiens and archaic species like Neanderthals and Denisovans. He argues that these admixtures were not peripheral but central to human diversity, implying that non-African populations carry significant genetic legacies from these encounters, up to 6% in some cases. But Sepehr goes further, claiming that sub-Saharan Africans have up to 19% admixture from a super-archaic hominin species, a ghost population unknown to science. Could this mean that Africa's role as the soul cradle is overstated, with evolution occurring in a more distributed fashion? Sepehr's arguments often draw on recent genomic findings to bolster his case. He points to discoveries like the Dragon Man's skull in China, dated to around 146,000 years ago, which some researchers suggest represents a new human lineage. This, he says, challenges the timeline of African exclusivity, hinting at parallel developments in Asia. Similarly, he references the Nesha Ramla fossils in Israel, blending Neanderthal and Sapiens traits as evidence of regional continuity rather than a sweeping African replacement. These finds, Sepehr asserts, expose missing links in the fossil record gaps that the out-of-Africa model struggles to fill. He questions why these anomalies are downplayed, suggesting a bias in academia toward a narrative that promotes human unity at the expense of diversity. Is there a conspiracy at play, or merely the cautious nature of scientific consensus? Beyond fossils and genes, Sepehr weaves in cultural and linguistic elements to support his views. He argues that ancient myths and symbols, from Sumerian epics to Vedic texts, describe advanced civilizations predating African migrations. For instance, he links the Aryan migrations into Europe and India with a diffusion of knowledge from a northern homeland, challenging the idea that all cultural innovations stemmed from Africa. In his work, Sepehr explores esoteric traditions, suggesting that occult societies have preserved hidden histories of human origins. He posits that antediluvian cultures, perhaps destroyed by cataclysms like floods, scattered survivors across the globe, leading to independent evolutionary paths. This diffusionist lens allows him to connect disparate dots: the precision of Egyptian pyramids, the astronomical alignments of Stonehenge, and even the enigmatic structures in South America. Could these be remnants of a shared pre-African heritage, erased from official records? Sepehr's critique intensifies when he accuses the out-of-Africa theory of being woke and politically driven. He claims it serves an agenda to homogenize humanity, ignoring racial and ethnic differences that he believes are rooted in distinct evolutionary histories. In social media posts and videos, he argues that the theory is propped up by ideological forces, suppressing evidence of advanced non-African origins to promote equality over truth. This stance has drawn sharp criticism, with detractors accusing him of racism and promoting white supremacist undertones. Sources like Reddit threads and debunking videos highlight how Sepehr's narratives often align with far-right ideologies, using pseudoscience to justify hierarchies. Yet, Sepehr defends his position, insisting that acknowledging differences enriches our understanding rather than divides. Is he unearthing uncomfortable truths, or twisting data to fit a narrative? One of Sepehr's most provocative claims involves the role of politics in anthropology. He alleges that institutions and governments conceal discoveries that contradict the out-of-Africa model, such as giant skeletons or out-of-place artifacts. In his discussions, he references suppressed finds, like the Smithsonian's alleged cover-up of anomalous bones in North America. These, he says, point to a multi-regional evolution, where advanced societies flourished outside Africa long before the accepted migrations. Sepehr ties this to broader conspiracies, suggesting that elite groups manipulate history to control populations. His book, 1666, Redemption Through Sin, delves into occult influences on world events, implying that human origins are part of a larger, hidden agenda. This blend of anthropology and esotericism captivates audiences, but raises questions. Are these connections insightful, or mere speculation? Despite the allure, Sepehr's views face rigorous scientific scrutiny. Mainstream anthropologists argue that genetic evidence overwhelmingly supports out-of-Africa, with the greatest diversity in African populations and a clear migration pattern traced through Y chromosome and mitochondrial DNA. The multi-regional model, while once popular, has been largely supplanted by hybrid models that incorporate limited regional continuity but maintain Africa as the primary origin. Critics like those in academic forums point out that Sepehr cherry-picks data, ignoring comprehensive studies that refute his claims. For example, the super-archaic admixture in Africans is estimated at much lower levels, around 2% by reputable sources, not the 19% he cites. Moreover, his diffusionist arguments often rely on outdated or debunked theories, such as hyperdiffusionism, which posits a single source for all civilizations. Yet, Sepehr's persistence in highlighting anomalies keeps the conversation alive. He discusses the rapid cognitive evolution of Homo sapiens, questioning how such advancements occurred if confined to a single origin. He points to art in European caves, dated to 40,000 years ago, as evidence of independent cultural blooms. In Asia, the Denisovan contributions to Tibetan high-altitude adaptations suggest regional specializations that challenge a purely African narrative. Sepehr asks, if evolution was multi-regional, why insist on a monolithic story? This line of inquiry resonates with those skeptical of orthodoxy, fueling debates on platforms like YouTube and Instagram. Sepehr's influence extends beyond academia into popular culture, where his videos amass millions of views. Titles like Out of Africa Theory, Debunked Promise Revelations, drawing viewers into a world of forbidden knowledge. He connects human origins to broader themes, such as Atlantis or extraterrestrial interventions, suggesting that ancient texts encode truths about our past. In one post, he claims the theory is obsolete in light of genomic revolutions, urging followers to question everything. This approach, while engaging, has led to accusations of misinformation. Debunking channels dissect his claims, showing how he misrepresents studies or ignores peer-reviewed consensus. As we explore Sepehr's world, consider the implications of his ideas. If multi-regional evolution holds water, it could redefine identity, culture, and history. Populations might trace roots to local archaic ancestors, enriching narratives of heritage. However, this risks fostering division, as seen in critiques labeling his work as racially charged. Sepehr himself denies such intent, framing his work as a pursuit of truth against dogma. His Iranian-German heritage, he says, informs a multicultural perspective, though critics argue it masks underlying biases. The fossil gaps Sepehr emphasizes are real, but science views them as natural incompleteness rather than conspiracy. Transitional forms are rare due to preservation biases, yet accumulating evidence like the 315,000-year-old Jebel Irhoud fossils strengthens the African origin while allowing for complexity. Sepehr's call for re-evaluation echoes valid scientific progress, where theories evolve with data. Recent models incorporate African multi-regionalism, suggesting sapiens evolved across the continent in interconnected populations, blending elements of both views. Sepehr's esoteric leanings add another dimension. He explores alchemy, Freemasonry, and ancient mysteries, linking them to human origins. In Species with Amnesia, he argues humanity has forgotten its advanced past, suppressed by cataclysms and elites. This narrative ties into his critique of Out of Africa, portraying it as part of a larger amnesia. Is this a bridge to deeper understanding, or a detour into fantasy? Critics on platforms like Reddit and YouTube accuse Sepehr of grifting, profiting from sensationalism. His videos, often monetized, blend facts with speculation, leading viewers down rabbit holes. Yet, his defenders praise him for challenging stagnation, encouraging independent thought. This polarization mirrors broader societal divides, where trust in institutions wanes. In the end, Sepehr's challenging views invite us to question the foundations of our knowledge. Does the Out of Africa theory withstand scrutiny, or are there cracks revealing a more intricate story? His emphasis on genetic admixtures, cultural diffusions, and hidden histories sparks curiosity, even if controversial. As you reflect on these ideas, let them swirl in your mind, like ancient winds across forgotten landscapes. The truth of our origins may be more multifaceted than any single theory allows, a mosaic waiting to be pieced together. So, dear listeners, as you ponder these mysteries, where are you tuning in from? Perhaps a cozy room in London, a quiet night in Paris, or a far-off place under the same stars. What time is it there, as you wander through these shadows of history? Rest now, with these thoughts as your companions, drifting into the quiet realms where history and mystery entwine. Humanity's story is not a solitary thread, but a tangled weave, knotted with the lives of other ancient beings who once shared our world. Beyond Homo sapiens, the Earth bore witness to a caste of forgotten kin, Neanderthals, Denisovans, the diminutive Homo floresiensis, and perhaps others still hidden in the shadows of time. These species, with their own dreams, tools, and struggles, walked paths that intersected ours, leaving traces in our bones and blood. But what if there are more undiscovered species lurking in the gaps of history? What secrets do their vanished lives hold? As we venture into this labyrinth of ancient humanity, let curiosity guide you, for the tale of these other humans is a puzzle that both grounds us in science and teases us with the unknown. Our journey begins in the cold caves of Europe, where Neanderthals carved out an existence some 400,000 years ago. These stocky, resilient beings, with their heavy brows and broad shoulders, were masters of survival in a harsh Ice Age world. Their tools, crafted with precision, rivaled those of early Homo sapiens. At sites like La Ferracie in France, Neanderthal burials reveal a depth of care, with bodies laid to rest alongside offerings, suggesting a belief in something beyond life. Were they pondering death as we do, their minds alight with questions of the eternal? Genetic evidence tells us they were not so distant. Up to 2% of modern European and Asian DNA comes from Neanderthal ancestors, a legacy of love or necessity when our species met theirs some 50,000 years ago. But what was the nature of those encounters? Were they clashes of rivals, or moments of connection under a shared sky? Far to the east, in the Altai Mountains of Siberia, another species emerges from the shadows, the Denisovans. Known only from a handful of bones, a finger, a jaw, a few teeth, these mysterious cousins left a profound mark. Their DNA, found in modern populations from Oceania to Tibet, reveals a people adapted to diverse environments, from high altitudes to tropical islands. A Denisovan gene, for instance, allows Tibetans to thrive in low-oxygen highlands, a gift from an ancestor we barely know. Discovered as recently as 2010, the Denisovans challenge our assumptions, proving that humanity's family tree is far more complex than a single branch. Yet, their scarcity in the fossil record raises a tantalizing question. How many other species lie buried, their stories untold? Then there is Homo floresiensis, the so-called hobbits of Flores Island in Indonesia. Standing barely 3 feet tall, these tiny humans lived as recently as 50,000 years ago, crafting tools and hunting dwarf elephants with a sophistication that belies their size. Found in Liang Bua Cave, their delicate bones shocked the world when unearthed in 2003. Were they a separate species, descended from an ancient hominin like Homo erectus, or a stunted offshoot of our own kind, shaped by island isolation? Their existence, overlapping with Homo sapiens, hints at a world where multiple human species coexisted, perhaps sharing stories by firelight or competing for the same prey. Imagine the scene: a Homo sapiens hunter, tall and lean, meeting a hobbit-like figure in the jungle, their eyes locking in mutual wonder or wariness. The science of these ancient humans is a beacon, illuminating our past with hard evidence. DNA analysis, like that conducted on Neanderthal and Denisovan remains, shows interbreeding was not rare but a defining feature of our history. In Melanesians, up to 6% of DNA traces back to Denisovans, carrying traits we are only beginning to understand. Fossils, too, paint a vivid picture. Neanderthal tools at Shanidar Cave in Iraq include scrapers and points, evidence of a culture rich with skill. Yet, science also reveals gaps. The Denisovans are known from mere fragments, and Homo floresiensis raises questions about evolution's twists. Could there be other species, their bones lost to time or buried in unexplored caves? This thought leads us to a deeper mystery. What if there were species we have yet to find? In Africa, where Homo sapiens emerged, recent discoveries hint at complexity. The Rising Star Cave in South Africa revealed Homo naledi, a species with a mix of primitive and modern traits, dated to around 250,000 years ago. Their small brains and ape-like shoulders contrast with hands capable of fine craftsmanship, and their burial practices suggest a mind attuned to ritual. Did Homo naledi share the African landscape with our ancestors, perhaps even interbreeding? The possibility stirs the imagination. What other kin might have walked beside us, their voices silenced by the ages? Beyond the known, whispers of stranger possibilities emerge. Some alternative thinkers, like those echoing Robert Sepehr's ideas, propose that ancient humans might have included species tied to myths like the ghost populations inferred from genetic studies. In West Africa, DNA from modern populations shows traces of an unknown hominin contributing up to 2% of their genome. This ghost species, neither Neanderthal nor Denisovan, is a spectre in our ancestry, its identity a blank page. Could it be a remnant of a forgotten people, perhaps tied to legends of shapeshifters or spirit beings in African folklore? The Zulu tales of the Abantu, ancient beings with unearthly wisdom, come to mind. Are these stories mere metaphor, or do they hint at encounters with a lost species? The enigma grows when we consider the edges of science fiction. In the 1942nd, Admiral Richard Byrd's Antarctic expeditions sparked tales of a hidden world beneath the Earth, a realm some claim housed ancient human species or their descendants. Though dismissed as fantasy, the idea of a hollow Earth resonates with the notion that undiscovered hominins could survive in remote places. Imagine a subterranean cave, its darkness lit by the glow of a forgotten people, their tools and songs echoing through caverns untouched by time. While science finds no evidence for such realms, the scarcity of Denisovan fossils and the late survival of Homo floresiensis remind us how little we know of our planet's past. The lives of these ancient humans were not just about survival, they were about meaning. Neanderthals adorned their dead with flowers, as seen at Shanidar Cave, suggesting a grasp of loss and memory. Homo floresiensis, despite their size, hunted with strategy, their small hands wielding spears against giant rats. These acts speak of minds alive with purpose, perhaps not so different from our own. Did they dream as we do, their nights filled with visions of gods or ancestors? Did they tell stories of their own origins, staring at the same stars we see today? The thought is a bridge, connecting us to these lost kin across millennia. Yet, the mystery of their disappearance haunts us. Why did Neanderthals fade as Homo sapiens rose? Was it climate, competition, or disease? Genetic evidence suggests we absorbed them, their genes blending into ours, but their culture vanished. The Denisovans, too, left only whispers in our DNA, their lives erased save for a few bones. Homo floresiensis survived until the edge of history, then vanished, perhaps overwhelmed by our ancestors or natural disasters. Each extinction is a question mark, a reminder that our own survival was never guaranteed. What if another species had prevailed, shaping a world where Homo sapiens were but a footnote? The possibility of undiscovered species adds a final layer of intrigue. In the jungles of Indonesia or the caves of Africa, bones may lie waiting, holding secrets of cousins we never knew. Recent finds, like the Luzon hominin in the Philippines, dated to 67,000 years ago, show how discoveries can rewrite history overnight. Could there be a species with traits we cannot imagine, perhaps adapted to water, like the Nomo of Dogon myth, or towering like the giants of legend? The Earth is vast, its depths unexplored, and each new dig could unveil a face from our forgotten family. Picture a Neanderthal carving a flint blade, its eyes reflecting a fire's glow. Imagine a Denisovan climbing a Himalayan peak, its breath steady in the thin air. See a Homo floresiensis child, small but fierce, chasing shadows in a tropical dusk. These were our kin, their lives woven into ours, their mysteries a mirror to our own. What other species shared their world, their stories lost to time? In the quiet corners of history, where artifacts gleam with secrets and words carry echoes of forgotten worlds, certain mysteries shine brighter than others. Among them are the crystal skulls, polished to perfection, their translucent surfaces catching light as if holding the wisdom of the ages. Alongside them, the enigma of ancient languages, tongues that seem to spring from a single, primal source, whispers of a time when humanity spoke with a unity now lost. These phenomena, one carved in stone, the other woven in words, pull us into a web of questions. Were the crystal skulls vessels of cosmic knowledge? Did ancient languages encode truths that bind us to a deeper past? The crystal skulls first capture our imagination with their eerie beauty. Found across Central America, particularly in regions tied to the Maya and Aztec civilizations, these objects are crafted from pure quartz, their surfaces so smooth they defy the tools of their supposed makers. One of the most famous, the Mitchell Hedges skull, was reportedly discovered in 1,924-inch Belize, its flawless form sparking tales of otherworldly origins. Measuring life-sized, with a detachable jaw, it seems almost alive, its eyes glinting as if watching the world. Other skulls, like those in the British Museum and the Smithsonian, are equally mesmerizing, though their provenance is murkier. Some claim these artifacts date back thousands of years, created by cultures with no known technology to achieve such precision. Others argue they are modern creations, crafted in the 19th century, yet their allure persists, drawing us to ask, what were they for? Legends surrounding the crystal skulls are as varied as the cultures that claim them. Mayan traditions speak of 13 skulls, each holding the knowledge of the cosmos, destined to be reunited to guide humanity through a new age. Some stories link them to priests who used them in rituals, channeling visions or communicating with ancestors. Alternative thinkers, like those inspired by Robert Sepehr, propose a bolder idea. The skulls are relics of a lost civilization, perhaps Atlantis or an extraterrestrial culture, their quartz structure capable of storing information like a primitive computer. Tests on the Mitchell-Hedges skull, using modern optics, suggest its crystal could focus light in ways that hint at advanced craftsmanship. Could these objects be more than art, perhaps devices for storing or transmitting knowledge across millennia? The mystery deepens when we consider the science or lack thereof behind the skulls. Mainstream archaeologists often dismiss them as 19th century forgeries, citing tool marks consistent with modern techniques. Yet, the absence of definitive evidence leaves room for doubt. Quartz is notoriously difficult to carve without fracturing, requiring tools and patience beyond what ancient Mesoamerican cultures are believed to have possessed. Some skulls, like the Paris museums, show no microscopic evidence of modern machinery, puzzling experts. If they are ancient, what purpose did they serve? Were they ceremonial, as some suggest, used in shamanic rites to connect with the divine? Or do they hold secrets we have yet to unlock, their crystalline structure a key to a forgotten technology? Let us shift our gaze to another enigma, the mystery of ancient languages. Across the globe, from the Indus Valley to the Mediterranean, early human societies developed tongues that seem to share a hidden root. Linguists point to Proto-Indo-European, a hypothetical language spoken around 6,000 years ago, as the ancestor of many modern languages, from Sanskrit to Latin to English. Its reconstructed vocabulary, with words for wheel and sky, suggests a culture with sophisticated concepts. But how did this language spread so widely, from India to Europe, in an era before writing? And what of other ancient tongues, like those of Africa or the Americas, which seem to echo similar patterns? The idea of a mother language tantalizes, hinting at a time when humanity spoke as one. The Dogon people of Mali, whose astronomical knowledge we touched on earlier, offer a clue. Their language, rich with metaphors for the stars, suggests a connection to a deeper wisdom. Could their tongue, or others like it, preserve fragments of a universal language spoken by a lost civilization? Some theorists propose that a single, advanced culture, perhaps predating the out-of-Africa migrations, spread a proto-language across the globe, its echoes surviving in the roots of modern speech. The similarities between distant languages, like the shared word for mother, ma, amma, or umma, across cultures, fuel this speculation. Is this mere coincidence, or evidence of a shared linguistic heritage from a time before history? The crystal skulls and ancient languages intersect in a curious way. Both suggest a knowledge system beyond what we attribute to early humans. Imagine a Mayan priest, holding a crystal skull under starlight, chanting in a tongue that resonates with words spoken continents away. Could the skulls have been tools for preserving language, their quartz somehow encoding sounds or meanings? Modern experiments show quartz can vibrate at specific frequencies, potentially amplifying sound or storing energy. While speculative, this idea invites us to wonder, were the skulls part of a ritual where language and crystal worked together, perhaps to commune with ancestors or distant stars? The global spread of linguistic patterns raises further questions. In South America, the Quechua language shares phonetic traits with languages in ancient Mesopotamia, despite oceans separating them. In Africa, the Bantu languages, spoken across vast regions, show structural similarities to early Semitic tongues. These connections, though not fully explained, suggest contact or a common source. Could a lost civilization, perhaps one that thrived before the Younger Dryas cataclysm 12,000 years ago, have seeded these linguistic threads. The absence of written records from such a time leaves us guessing, but the patterns are too striking to ignore. Alternative voices, like those echoing Sepehr's ideas, push the mystery further. They argue that the crystal skulls and ancient languages are relics of a global culture, one that knew secrets of the cosmos. Some link the skulls to Atlantis, a legendary island said to have housed an advanced society before its fall. Others tie them to extraterrestrial visitors, suggesting the skulls were gifts from beings who taught humanity to speak and think. These ideas, while lacking hard evidence, resonate because they address a core question. Why do humans, across time and space, seem to share a drive to encode meaning in objects and words? Science, as always, offers a counterpoint. Linguists argue that Proto-Indo-Europeans spread through migration and trade, not a mystical source. The crystal skulls, they say, are likely products of 19th century European workshops, crafted to feed a fascination with the exotic. Yet, even science admits gaps. The origins of language itself remain elusive. When did humans first speak, and why? The sudden appearance of complex grammar and symbolism around 50,000 years ago, during the Upper Paleolithic, is a puzzle. Could it align with the creation of objects like the skulls, designed to capture or amplify the power of words? Let us imagine a scene, a circle of ancient humans, gathered around a crystal skull glowing faintly in the firelight. They speak in a tongue that carries the weight of millennia, their words weaving stories of creation, stars, and survival. The skull, held aloft, seems to hum, as if resonating with their voices. Is it a tool, a talisman, or something more, a device that captures the essence of their speech, preserving it for a future they cannot see? This image, vivid and haunting, bridges the tangible and the mystical, inviting us to question what we know. The crystal skulls, whether ancient or modern, embody a universal human trait, the desire to create objects that transcend time. Their polished surfaces reflect our need to leave a mark, to speak to those who come after. Ancient languages, too, are a testament to this urge, their words carrying ideas across generations. Together, they form a mystery that binds us to our ancestors, a puzzle that asks, what were they trying to tell us? Were the skulls vessels for knowledge, their quartz a medium for truths too vast for words alone? Did ancient languages encode a shared understanding of the cosmos, lost when humanity scattered? Picture the crystal skulls, their surfaces catching the light of a distant star, whispering secrets in a language older than time. Hear the ancient words, spoken by voices long gone, their meanings lingering in the air. The skulls and languages are not answers but questions, doors to a past we can only imagine. Envision a world veiled in twilight, where the heavens part and luminous figures descend, their forms both familiar and alien, altering the course of human destiny forever. This is the essence of the conspiracy theories that entwine divine intervention with ancient UFOs, tales that suggest gods were not ethereal spirits but extraterrestrial beings who meddled in our evolution. From the fertile valleys of Eden to the vast deserts of Africa, these narratives paint a picture of humanity as a crafted experiment, a species born from the ambitions of visitors from the stars. As we unravel these threads, each revelation builds upon the last, drawing you deeper into a conspiracy that challenges the very foundations of our existence. What if the gods of old were pilots of celestial crafts, their miracles merely advanced technology? The Book of Genesis offers one of the earliest glimpses into this intriguing conspiracy. In its pages, the Garden of Eden emerges not as a paradise of divine whim, but as a controlled genetic laboratory. Here, God, or perhaps a collective of beings, forms Adam from the dust, breathing life into him. But conspiracy theorists like Zecharia Sitchin interpret this differently, proposing that Eden was a site for bioengineering. Sitchin, drawing from Sumerian tablets, argued that the Hebrew word Elohim, often translated as God, is plural, suggesting multiple entities. These gods, he claimed, were the Anunnaki, extraterrestrials who engineered Homo sapiens by splicing their DNA with that of primitive hominids. Adam, then, becomes the first successful hybrid, created to toil in mines for gold, a resource the Anunnaki needed for their atmosphere. Could the forbidden fruit be a metaphor for genetic knowledge? The serpent, a rebel alien sharing secrets that awakened human consciousness? This idea cascades into broader conspiracies, where divine interventions across cultures mask UFO encounters. In ancient India, the Vimanas of the Vedas are described as flying chariots, piloted by gods in battles that resemble aerial dogfights. The Mahabharata recounts weapons of mass destruction, their blasts akin to nuclear detonations, suggesting advanced extraterrestrial tech. Were these gods, like Indra or Vishnu, actually UFO pilots, their vehicles mistaken for divine mounts? The conspiracy deepens with reports of similar craft in African lore. The Zulu speak of the Impundulu, bird-like beings from the sky, who brought knowledge and fire. In the Sahara's Tassili Niger caves, paintings dating back 10,000 years depict figures in what appear to be helmets and suits, surrounded by disc-shaped objects. These astronaut petroglyphs, as some call them, fuel theories of ancient UFO visits, perhaps guiding early humans in their migrations out of Africa. The allure of these conspiracies lies in their ability to connect dots across time and space. Consider the Egyptian gods, like Ra, who arrived in a solar boat from the heavens. Hieroglyphs at Abydos show what some interpret as helicopters and submarines, etched into temple walls. Skeptics dismiss them as palimpsests overlapping carvings, but conspiracy enthusiasts see evidence of time travel or alien tech shared with pharaohs. Linking back to human origins, could these gods have influenced the genetic leap that separated Homo sapiens from our archaic cousins? The sudden appearance of symbolic art and complex tools around 70,000 years ago coincides with what some call the Great Leap Forward. Was this leap natural or accelerated by extraterrestrial intervention, perhaps through genetic tweaks in an Eden-like setting? Sitchin's theories, though controversial, form the backbone of many such conspiracies. In his Earth Chronicles series, he deciphers Sumerian cuneiform to reveal the Anunnaki's agenda. Arriving on Earth 450,000 years ago, they established bases in Mesopotamia and Africa, mining gold to repair their planet Nibiru's atmosphere. When labor grew scarce, Enki, a chief scientist god, proposed creating workers by modifying ape-like creatures. The result? Homo sapiens, born from a test tube of sorts, with Eve as the first cloned female. Sitchin points to the biblical lifespan of early humans, hundreds of years as evidence of alien longevity, genes diluted over generations. Critics lambast his translations as inaccurate, but his ideas persist, inspiring questions. If gods were aliens, were miracles like the parting of the Red Sea achieved with anti-gravity devices or sonic weapons? African cave art provides a fertile ground for these UFO conspiracies. In Algeria's Tassili Plateau, over 15,000 paintings depict humanoid figures with round heads and antennae-like protrusions, hovering near floating discs. Some interpret these as shamanic visions, but others see UFO abductions or contact events. Similar motifs appear in South Africa's Drakensberg Mountains, where San rock art shows elongated beings descending from the sky, interacting with humans. Could these be records of genetic experiments, where aliens selected early Homo sapiens for upgrades? The conspiracy extends to modern times, with some claiming that ancient UFOs explain phenomena like the Dogon's Sirius knowledge, perhaps encoded during an intervention event. The biblical flood, another cornerstone, is reimagined as an alien-engineered cataclysm. Noah's Ark becomes a DNA bank, preserving species amid a deluge caused by Nibiru's gravitational pull. Sitchin ties this to Sumerian epics, where gods warn favored humans of impending doom. In this light, divine wrath is extraterrestrial strategy, culling flawed experiments to restart civilization. African myths echo this, with tales of great floods sent by sky gods to cleanse the earth. The Yoruba speak of Olokun, a sea deity with otherworldly powers, perhaps a submerged UFO base. These stories, woven into conspiracies, suggest a global network of alien overseers, intervening at key moments in human evolution. What makes these theories so captivating is their blend of ancient texts and modern sightings. UFO reports from antiquity, like the fiery shields described by Roman historians during battles, mirror today's accounts. In Africa, The aerial school incident in Zimbabwe, where children in 1994 claimed to see aliens warning of environmental doom, revives ancient intervention narratives. Conspiracy circles link this to genetic monitoring, suggesting aliens continue the work started in Eden, tweaking humanity's path. Could crop circles, often near ancient sites, be modern markers of these interventions, geometric codes left for us to decipher? Diving deeper, the conspiracy implicates secret societies in preserving this knowledge. Freemasons and Illuminati, some claim, guard alien god secrets, their symbols echoing Sumerian motifs. The Eye of Horus, atop the pyramid on the dollar bill, is seen as an alien surveillance emblem. In human origins, this ties to theories of selective breeding, where gods, aliens chose bloodlines for leadership, explaining royal divine right. African kings, like the pharaohs, claimed descent from sky gods, their thrones perhaps built on alien legacies. The conspiracy whispers that world leaders today know this truth, using it to control populations through religion and technology. Yet, these ideas face fierce debunking. Biblical scholars argue Genesis is allegory, not history, while linguists question Sitchin's Sumerian expertise. Cave art is often psychedelic, inspired by trances rather than UFOs. Modern science favors natural evolution, with no need for alien hands, but conspiracies thrive on doubt, pointing to unexplained artifacts like the Baghdad battery or Antikythera mechanism as alien tech leftovers. In Africa, the Ishango bone, etched with mathematical notations 20,000 years ago, suggests premature knowledge, perhaps gifted by visitors. The role of UFOs in these theories evolves with time. Ancient astronauts, as Eric von Daniken termed them, built pyramids as landing pads, their energy harnessed for flight. In Giza, alignments with Orion hint at stellar origins, tying back to Anunnaki star maps. African monoliths, like those in Senegal's Wassou circles, are seen as ancient observatories, signaling to UFOs. The conspiracy posits that these sites form a global grid, activated during interventions. Modern abductees report genetic procedures, echoing Eden's creation, perhaps continuing the experiment. As layers unfold, consider the psychological draw. These conspiracies offer purpose, suggesting humanity is not accidental but designed. If gods were aliens, our struggles have cosmic meaning, our flaws engineered traits. In Africa, cradle of life, this resonates deeply, were early humans, chosen for their resilience, molded into workers, then left to evolve. The dropper stones of China, with their disc shapes and hieroglyphs telling of crashed aliens, interbreeding with locals, parallel African tales, suggesting a worldwide program. The Vatican, with its vast archives, is accused of hiding evidence, ancient texts describing UFOs as angelic visitations. Conspiracy forums buzz with leaked documents, claiming popes knew of alien gods since antiquity. This ties to prophecies, like the Mayan calendar's 2012 end date, interpreted as an alien return. In our origins, it implies a cycle: intervention, abandonment, return. As UFO sightings surge today, some see fulfillment, aliens checking their creation. These conspiracies, while speculative, ignite curiosity by reframing history. Divine plagues in Exodus become bioweapons, manna from heaven, alien sustenance. In Africa, the rainmaker gods of the sand could be UFOs seeding clouds. The beauty lies in the questions. If true, what do aliens want now? Are we nearing another intervention, a genetic upgrade for cosmic challenges? If these ideas stir your imagination, dear listeners, I'd love for you to join our Mystery History for Sleep community. Subscribe and tap that bell to stay with us as we unravel more secrets. Let these ideas simmer as you drift. Picture ancient skies alive with crafts, gods stepping forth to shape clay into man. Hear the hum of UFOs over Eden, their lights casting long shadows. The conspiracy of divine intervention and ancient UFOs is a vast ocean, its depths unexplored. What truths lie beneath? Rest with these wonders, letting them carry you into dreams where gods and stars converge. Beneath the surface of the earth, where time has buried its secrets, lie artifacts that challenge the neat timelines of human history. These are the out-of-place relics, the anomalous finds that seem to belong to no known era, whispering of civilizations lost or events erased. From a battery in ancient Baghdad to footprints frozen beside dinosaur tracks, these discoveries ignite fierce debates, pulling us into a dance between fact and fantasy. They are joined by the gaping voids in our historical record, moments where the story of humanity falters, leaving us to wonder what truths have been swallowed by time. As we sift through these fragments, let each clue draw you deeper into a mystery that questions everything we believe about our past. One of the most perplexing artifacts is the Baghdad Battery, unearthed in Iraq in 1936. This small clay jar, dating to the Parthian period around 2,000 years ago, contains a copper cylinder and an iron rod sealed with asphalt. When filled with an acidic liquid like vinegar, it can generate a weak electric current, leading some to call it an ancient battery. Mainstream archaeologists suggest it was used for electroplating jewelry or as a ritual object, but others, including alternative historians, propose a bolder idea. Could it indicate an ancient understanding of electricity, far predating modern science? The implications are staggering if true. It suggests a level of technological sophistication in Mesopotamia that rewrites our understanding of ancient capabilities. Why, then, do no texts or other artifacts confirm this knowledge? Is the battery a singular anomaly, or a hint of a lost science? Across the ocean, in the Paluxy River of Texas, another controversy brews. Here, alongside dinosaur footprints fossilized in Cretaceous limestone, researchers in the early 20th century claimed to find human-like tracks, some over a foot long. These prints, if genuine, would place humans millions of years earlier than the out-of-Africa timeline allows, coexisting with creatures long extinct. Creationists seized on the find as evidence against evolution, while others speculated about a forgotten race of giants. Mainstream science dismisses the tracks as misidentified dinosaur prints or carvings, eroded by time to resemble human feet. Yet, the sheer number of reported tracks, documented in old photographs and local lore, keeps the mystery alive. Could they be traces of an unknown human species, or even a lost civilization with technology to survive alongside dinosaurs? In Africa, the cradle of humanity, similar enigmas emerge. The Ishango bone, found in the Democratic Republic of Congo and dated to 20,000 years ago, is a baboon fibula etched with precise markings. Some see it as a tally stick, others as a lunar calendar or mathematical tool, with rows of numbers suggesting prime number sequences. Such sophistication in a Paleolithic era challenges assumptions about early human cognition. Was this the work of a lone genius, or evidence of a broader culture with advanced knowledge? The bone's isolation, no similar artifacts nearby, creates a gap in our understanding, a silence where a story should be. What other tools or knowledge did these early Africans possess, now lost to the ages? These controversial finds are not alone. In South Africa, the Boskop skulls, discovered in the early 20th century, present another puzzle. These crania, larger than modern human skulls with an estimated brain capacity 30% greater, were initially thought to represent a distinct, highly intelligent species. Dated to around 10,000 years ago, they sparked theories of a superhuman race, perhaps linked to legends of giants or advanced beings. Mainstream anthropology now attributes them to natural variation within Homo sapiens, possibly exaggerated by early measurements. Yet, the Boskop mystery persists in popular imagination, fueled by their size and the lack of clear context. Could they hint at a population with cognitive abilities beyond our own, their legacy erased by time or catastrophe? The gaps in history amplify these mysteries. The fossil record, while rich, is riddled with holes. Only a fraction of ancient life is preserved, and even less of human activity. The transition from archaic hominins to Homo sapiens is marked by missing links, with few fossils bridging the gap between 2 million and 300,000 years ago. In Africa, sites like Jebel Irhoud, with Homo sapiens fossils dated to 315,000 years, push our origins deeper into the past. But the scarcity of earlier transitional forms leaves questions. Where are the bones of our immediate ancestors? Were they destroyed by natural processes, or are they hidden, waiting for discovery in unexcavated caves. Another gap looms in the sudden extinction of Neanderthals around 40,000 years ago as Homo sapiens spread into Europe. The Out of Africa model suggests competition, disease, or climate change as causes, but no definitive evidence explains their rapid disappearance. Some conspiracy theorists, echoing Robert Sepehr's ideas, propose a darker scenario, a war of annihilation, with Homo sapiens wiping out their rivals. Cave paintings in Europe depicting violent scenes fuel this speculation, though they could simply reflect intra-species conflict. The absence of clear battle sites or mass graves leaves this as a haunting possibility, a blank page in our story where a tragedy may have unfolded. The technological anomalies extend beyond the Baghdad battery. In Egypt, the Saqqara bird, a wooden object from the 3rd century BCE, resembles a modern glider, its aerodynamic shape suggesting flight knowledge. While likely a toy or ritual object, some speculate it reflects an understanding of aerodynamics, perhaps inherited from a lost culture. Similarly, the Antikythera mechanism, a Greek device from the 2nd century BCE, is a complex gear system for tracking celestial movements. Dubbed the world's first computer, its sophistication, unmatched for centuries, raises questions. Was it a unique invention or a remnant of a broader technological tradition? In Africa, the precision of Great Zimbabwe's stonework, built without mortar, hints at engineering knowledge that seems out of place for its time. Are these isolated achievements, or fragments of a forgotten civilization? These finds and gaps spark conspiracies of suppression. Some, like Sepehr, claim institutions like the Smithsonian hide artifacts that challenge mainstream narratives. Reports of giant skeletons in North American mounds, documented in 19th century newspapers, are said to have vanished into museum vaults, dismissed as hoaxes or animal bones. While no credible evidence supports these claims, the sheer volume of such stories, hundreds across decades, stirs doubt. Could there be a concerted effort to bury findings that disrupt the Out of Africa timeline, protecting a narrative of gradual human progress? The lack of transparency in early archaeology, where records were poorly kept, feeds this suspicion, though modern science demands rigorous proof. Africa itself holds more riddles. The Mapungubwe gold artifacts, from a 13th century South African kingdom, include a rhinoceros figurine, so finely crafted it rivals later European work. How did a seemingly isolated culture achieve such mastery? The Nabta Playa stone circle in Egypt, dated to 7,000 years ago, aligns with stars, suggesting astronomical knowledge predating Stonehenge. These finds, while explained as products of local ingenuity, raise questions about lost knowledge. Could they connect to a pre-cataclysmic culture, erased by events like the Younger Dryas flooding 12,000 years ago? The submerged ruins off Zanzibar, hinted at in local lore, add to the intrigue. Could they be remnants of a coastal civilization swallowed by rising seas? The gaps in history are not just physical but cultural. Why do so few records survive from Africa's deep past? Despite its role as humanity's cradle, oral traditions, like those of the San people, speak of a golden age when humans communed with the cosmos, but no written texts preserve this knowledge. The destruction of African libraries, like Timbuktu's manuscripts, by colonial powers or natural decay, widens these gaps. What wisdom was lost? The Dogon's Sirius knowledge, for instance, might have been part of a broader astronomical tradition, now fragmented. Each missing piece is a door to speculation, inviting us to imagine what once was. As you lie in the stillness, let these artifacts and absences envelop you. Picture the Baghdad battery, its faint hum echoing in a Mesopotamian workshop. See the Paluxy footprints, a human stride beside a dinosaur's claw defying time. Hold the Ashango bone, its markings a code to a lost mind. These relics and gaps are not just curiosities, they are challenges to our story, urging us to look beyond the known. What civilizations fell silent before we could hear them? What truths lie buried, waiting for a curious hand to unearth? As the night deepens and the world grows still, we stand at the edge of our journey, gazing back at the vast tapestry of humanity's origins. From the starlit whispers of extraterrestrial creators to the towering shadows of ancient giants, From the lost cities of Africa to the scientific saga of our exodus from that same continent, we have wandered through a labyrinth of mysteries. Each thread, whether woven from myth, artifact, or gene, pulls us toward a question that refuses to be answered. Who are we, truly? Are we the children of Earth's patient evolution, or do we carry the echoes of something grander, something cosmic? As we pause here, let these questions linger, not to unsettle but to cradle you, guiding you into a restful slumber where the past and the possible intertwine. Our exploration began with the bold claim that humanity might owe its existence to beings from beyond the stars. The ancient astronaut theory painted a picture of gods as extraterrestrials, their hands shaping our DNA in a primal Eden. The Sumerian Anunnaki, the Dogon's Nommo, the eerie glow of crystal skulls, all suggest a connection to a universe far larger than our own. These ideas, though unproven, stir a primal curiosity, a yearning to believe we are part of a grand cosmic design. What if our ancestors looked to the heavens not just in wonder, but in recognition of their makers? The thought is a spark, igniting dreams of a past where the line between human and alien blurred. Then we walked among giants, the Nephilim and their kin, whose legends span continents and cultures. The Paracas skulls, with their unsettling forms, and the tales of massive bones in forgotten mounds, hint at beings who towered over our ancestors. Were they hybrids, born of divine or extraterrestrial unions, or simply myths born from the awe of early humans? The Paluxy River footprints, striding impossibly beside dinosaur tracks, challenge our timelines, whispering of a world where history's rules might bend. These stories, whether fact or fable, invite us to imagine a time when the extraordinary walked among the ordinary, leaving only echoes in our tales. Africa, the cradle of humanity, revealed its own secrets, a civilization perhaps lost to time, its stone circles and grand ruins like Great Zimbabwe, suggesting a sophistication we struggle to place. The Dogon's knowledge of Sirius, the precise alignments of Adam's calendar, could these be fragments of a golden age, erased by floods or forgotten by history? The idea of a lost continent, Mu or Atlantis, adds a layer of intrigue, suggesting that Africa's story might stretch beyond its shores, connecting to a global network of knowledge now submerged. These possibilities, though speculative, paint a picture of a continent alive with wisdom, its legacy hidden in plain sight. The Out of Africa hypothesis grounded us in science, tracing our lineage to fossils in Ethiopia and DNA that binds us all. The journey of Homo sapiens, spreading across deserts and seas, is a saga of resilience, yet it leaves gaps. Why the sudden leap in art, language, and culture? Robert Sepehr's challenges pushed us further, questioning the single origin model with tales of multi-regional evolution and suppressed discoveries. His claims, though controversial, remind us that science is not a closed book but a living inquiry, where each new find reshapes the story. The tension between his ideas and mainstream anthropology is a mirror to our own search for truth, a balance between skepticism and wonder. Other ancient humans, Neanderthals, Denisovans, the tiny Homo floresiensis added depth to our family tree. Their genes linger in us, a testament to ancient unions under starlit skies. But what of the ghost species, the unknown hominins hinted at in African DNA? The possibility of undiscovered kin, hidden in caves or beneath oceans, keeps the mystery alive. The crystal skulls and ancient languages wove another thread, suggesting objects and words as vessels of lost knowledge. Could they connect to a universal tongue, spoken when humanity was one? These artifacts, whether sacred or mundane, beckon us to listen to the past's faint whispers. The conspiracy of divine intervention and ancient UFOs took us to the edge of belief, reimagining gods as extraterrestrial scientists, their crafts lighting up ancient skies. From Eden's genetic lab to the Tassili cave paintings, these theories propose a humanity shaped by otherworldly hands. Finally, the out-of-place artifacts, the Baghdad Battery, the Ashango Bone, the Boskop skulls challenged our timelines, hinting at technologies or peoples that don't fit. The gaps in history, the missing fossils and lost records, are as compelling as the finds themselves, each silence a question waiting to be answered. Now, as we reflect, consider what these mysteries mean. They are not just stories, but invitations to explore the boundaries of what we believe possible. The Out of Africa hypothesis offers a foundation, a story of human unity born in Africa's embrace. Yet, the anomalies, giant bones, crystal skulls, star-aligned stones, suggest there may be more layers of history we have yet to peel back. Are these the traces of a forgotten truth, or the human mind's need to fill the unknown with wonder? The beauty lies in the uncertainty, the space where science and imagination meet, creating a narrative that is both ours and beyond us. Picture yourself now, standing on an African plain at the dawn of time. The air is warm, the stars bright, and the horizon endless. Around you, your ancestors move some crafting tools, others painting stories on cave walls, a few gazing upward, as if sensing a presence beyond the sky. They are you, and you are them, connected by a thread that stretches through millennia. The crystal skulls, if they exist in this moment, glow faintly in the firelight, holding secrets they cannot speak. The languages they use, precursors to our own, carry dreams of gods and stars. Somewhere, perhaps, a giant's shadow falls, or a strange light hovers above, unnoticed but felt. This is the world of our origins, a place where every possibility coexists. What does it mean to be human in light of these mysteries? Are we the product of slow, earthly evolution, or did a cosmic hand guide our path? The truth may lie in the middle, a story of resilience shaped by forces we cannot yet name. The gaps in our history, the artifacts that defy explanation, are not flaws but gifts, urging us to keep searching. They remind us that our past is not a closed book but an open scroll, its final chapters unwritten. Each discovery, from a fossil in a cave to a signal from the stars, could shift the story, revealing a new facet of who we are. As you lie in the quiet, let these reflections settle around you. The mysteries we've explored are not meant to be solved tonight. They are companions for your dreams, guides to a place where questions bloom like stars. Imagine the Anunnaki, their ships fading into the dawn. See the giants, their footsteps fading into dust. Feel the weight of the Ashango bone. Its markings are code you almost understand. These are the threads of our story, woven into the fabric of your being. They ask you to wonder, what lies beyond the horizon of history? What secrets wait in the earth, the sky, the depths of your own blood? This journey, dear listener, is yours to continue. The past is not a distant thing, but a living presence, whispering in the artifacts we find, the stories we tell, the questions we ask. As you drift towards sleep, let these mysteries be your lullaby. They are not heavy burdens, but gentle waves, carrying you to a place where time dissolves, and the boundaries between human and divine, earthly and cosmic, blur. What if our origins are not just in Africa's soil, but in the stars above, in the minds of beings we cannot yet name? What if the gaps in our history are not empty, but filled with possibilities, waiting for you to dream them into being? Rest now, cradled by these thoughts. Let the night enfold you, its darkness a canvas for the stories of our past. The crystal skulls gleam, the ancient languages hum, the bones of our kin whisper. They are here, in this moment, guiding you into a slumber where the mysteries of humanity unfold. Sleep deeply, carried by the echoes of a past that is still alive, still speaking, still waiting to be known.